हाय गाइस, वेलकम बैक टू यूट्यूब चैनल स्टडी पर स्क्वायर सेंटीमीटर। आज की वीडियो हम आरसी सॉल्व करेंगे। आरसी कैट के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक है। अराउंड 24% ऑफ द पेपर आरसी डिपेंडेंट ही होता है। सो गिव प्रॉपर अटेंशन टू दिस वीडियो एंड लेट्स सॉल्व सम आरसीज. So this is the first passage and let's read the passage. Understanding where you are in the world is a basic survival skill, which is why we, like most species, come hardwired with specialized brain areas to create cognitive maps of our surroundings. Where humans are unique though, with the possible exception of honeybees, is that we try to communicate this understanding the world with others. We have a long history of doing this by drawing maps. The earliest version yet discovered were scrawled on cave walls 14,000 years ago. Human cultures have been drawing them on stone tablets, paper, and how computer screens ever since. So in this passage, author जो बात कर रहा है वो maps की हमारी बनाने की need की बात कर रहा है. That we think that knowing our world, understanding our world is a basic survival skill, and that is why we make maps. And early maps या जो starting के maps जब शुरू हुए थे वो 14,000 years ago शुरू हुआ था. So this is giving us a vague idea that the whole next passage is going to be about maps. Now let's come to the second paragraph. Given such a long history of human map making, it's perhaps surprising that is only within the last few hundred years that North has been consistently considered to be at the top. So author यहाँ पे एक नया आइडिया ला रहा है कि इतने सालों से हम मैप मेकिंग कर रहे हैं, बट सिर्फ कुछ पिछले के कुछ 100 सालों में ही नॉर्थ जो है उसको टॉप पे रखना शुरू किया है. सो आगे हमें ऑथर शायद इसी का एक्सप्लेनेशन देगा. सो लेट्स सी. In fact, for much of human history, North almost never appeared at the top, according to Jerry Broughton, a map historian. North was rarely put at the top for the simple fact that North is where darkness comes from, he says. West is also very unlikely to be put at the top because West is where the sun disappears. So यहाँ पे ऑथर बात कर रहा था कि पिछले कुछ सालों से ही नॉर्थ को जो है टॉप पे रखना शुरू किया है. एंड इसके आगे ऑथर इसका रीजन बता रहा है कि ऐसे ऐसे क्यों हो रहा था. अब हम आते हैं थर्ड पैराग्राफ पे. कंफ्यूजिंगली अर्ली चाइनीज मैप्स सीम टू बक दिस ट्रेंड. ये जो ट्रेंड था कि नॉर्थ को टॉप पे नहीं रखना, जो चाइनीज थे उन्होंने ये अलग किया. उन्होंने मैप में टॉप में नॉर्थ को ही रखा. But Broughton says even though they did have compasses at that time, that isn't the reason that they placed north at the top. Early Chinese compasses were actually oriented to point south, which was considered to be more desirable than deepest darkest north. But in Chinese maps, the emperor who lived in the north of the country was always put at the top of the map, with everyone else, his loyal subjects, looking up towards him. In Chinese culture, the emperor looks south because it's where the winds come from. It's a good direction. So even though they had compasses, that is not the reason why north was put at the top. Actually, the compasses were pointed to south, which was considered to be a desirable position rather than the deepest, darkest north. So what was the reason the Chinese maps were pointed towards north? The reason was that the emperor of the country lived at the top of the map, and all his loyal subjects were looking towards him and they were at the south of the map. So that is why it was considered to be at the top of the map. North was considered to be at the top of the map. In Chinese culture, the emperor looks south because it's where the winds come from. It's a good direction. So even though south is considered a good direction, this is where the winds come from, the Chinese still put north at the top of the map. North is not a very good, but you are in position of the subjection to the emperor, so you look up to him. Given that each culture has a very different idea of who or what they should look up to, it's perhaps not surprising that there is very little consistency in which way early maps pointed. In ancient Egyptian times, the top of the world was east, the position of sunrise. Early Islamic maps favored south at the top because most of the early Muslim cultures were north of Mecca. So they imagined looking up south towards the Christian maps from the same era called Mappa Mundi put east at the top towards the Garden of Eden and with Jerusalem in the center. So इस पैराग्राफ में ऑथर हमें एक्सप्लेन कर रहा है कि डिफरेंट कल्चर्स में, डिफरेंट रिलीजन्स में टॉप पे अलग डायरेक्शंस को रखा गया था और इसका रीजन इसमें बताया गया है for different religions. So now let's come to the last paragraph. So when did everyone get together and decide that North was at the top? So since ये question जो है ये हमारा last paragraph में है, यहाँ पे हमें most probably इसका answer भी मिल जाएगा. So let's read it further. It's tempting to put it down to European explorers like Christopher Columbus and Ferdinand Magellan who were navigating by the North Star. सो यहाँ पे ऑथर ने वर्ड यूज किया है टेम्पटिंग. सो विच मीन्स दैट ऑथर चाहता है कि ये इसका रीजन हो, एंड सिंस इसने इस तरह से लिखा है दैट इट्स टेम्पटिंग टू पुट इट डाउन, इट इज मोस्ट प्रोबेबली नॉट द रीजन व्हाई नॉर्थ इज पुट एट द टॉप. So let's read it further. But Broughton argues that these early explorers didn't think of the world like that at all. When Columbus describes the world, it is in accordance with the East being at the top. So as I told you, this is not the reason why the North was at the top. Columbus actually was thinking East was at the top and he proceeded with that thinking. He says Columbus says he is going towards paradise. So his mentality is from a medieval Mappa Mundi. We have got to remember, as Broughton, that at the time no one knows what they are doing and where they are going. So he ends the passage without answering this question that why North was at the top and when did it start. So questions पे आते हैं. Let's come to the first question. Which one of the following best describes what the passage is trying to do? So जहाँ पे भी ये आ जाता है which of the following best describes, it means कि options में से हो सकता है कि एक ऑप्शन से ज्यादा हो जो कि सही हो, लेकिन हमें बेटर ऑप्शन चूज करना है कि जो सबसे अच्छे से डिस्क्राइब कर रहा है पैसेज को. सो अब हम ऑप्शंस देखते हैं. इट क्वेश्चंस ऑन एक्सप्लेनेशन अबाउट हाउ मैप्स आर डिजाइन. Yes, it is somewhat doing this, so let's mark it for further review. It corrects a misconception about the way maps are designed. This is also true, and this is actually a better description than the first option. Third option पे आते हैं. It critiques a methodology used to create maps. It never critiques it. He is just explaining, he's just telling the different ways, the different explanations about it. So this option is eliminated. It explores some myths about maps. Yes, he is exploring some myths about maps, but it is not the best description for the paragraph. So this is also eliminated, and out of first and second option, second is a better description, and so this is a correct answer. Now coming to the second question. Early maps did not put north at the top for all the following reasons except. So हमें चार ऑप्शंस दिए हैं, इनमें से तीन ऑप्शंस रीजन है कि नॉर्थ टॉपिक क्यों नहीं था, और एक रीजन है जो कि एक ऑप्शन है जो कि रीजन नहीं है कि नॉर्थ टॉपिक क्यों था. So north was a source of darkness. We know this. That is why north was not at the top. So this option is eliminated. South was favored by some emperors. So this is true. South was favored by some emperors. But was it the reason that north was not put at the top? Let's see it. East and south were more important for religious reasons for some civilizations. True. So this can't be an answer. East was considered by some civilizations to be more positive direction. True. This is also not our answer. So south was favored by some emperors. They're talking about Chinese civilization. The Chinese emperor favored the south direction, but still their map pointed towards north. So this is not the reason why north was not at the top, and so this is our correct option, option 2. According to the passage, early Chinese maps placed north at the top because the Chinese invented the compass and were aware of magnetic north. Not true, it is incorrect. They wanted to show respect to the emperor. Yes, they wanted to show respect to the emperor, and that is why their north was at the top. So this is going to be our correct option. Now coming to the fourth question, it can be inferred from the passage that European explorers like Columbus and Magellan. Now the options. So जहाँ पे भी ये आ जाता है infer, विच मीन्स कि हमें कोई ऐसा ऑप्शन चूज करना है जो कि डायरेक्टली पैसेज में नहीं दिया हुआ, हमें कोई ऐसा ऑप्शन चूज करना है जो कि इनडायरेक्टली पैसेज में दिया है एंड वी आर इन्फरिंग इट फ्रॉम द पैसेज. सो लेट्स सी द ऑप्शंस. सेट द प्रेसिडेंट फॉर north of maps, navigated by the compass, used an eastward orientation for religious reasons, navigated with the help of early maps. So Columbus and Magellan set the precedent for north of maps. This is not given in the passage. They navigated by the compass. No, they navigated by the North Star. They navigated with the help of early maps. This is true, but this can't be inferred as it is present directly in the passage. So this is also not an option. They used an eastward orientation for religious reasons. ये हमारे पैसेज में हमें इनडायरेक्टली दिया है एंड सो दिस कैन बी इन्फर्ड एंड दिस इज आवर करेक्ट ऑप्शन, ऑप्शन 3. आते हैं नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पे. Which one of the following about the northern orientation of modern maps is asserted in the passage? The biggest contributory factor was the understanding of magnetic north. The biggest contributory factor was the role of European explorers. The biggest contributory factor was the influence of Christian maps. The biggest contributory factor is not stated in the passage. Correct. The fourth option. As I told you while we were reading the passage, in the last paragraph, he never told what was the reason, what was the contributory factor. He just left the passage with a question. So we never know what was the biggest contributory factor, and option 4 is the correct option. Now let's come to the next question. The role of natural phenomena in influencing map making conventions is seen most clearly in earlier Egyptian maps, earlier Islamic maps, Chinese maps, Christian maps. So Islamic maps and Christian maps में उन्होंने जो मैप मेकिंग कन्वेंशन था वो इन्फ्लुएंस था उनके रिलीजियस बिलीव्स पे, एंड चाइनीज मैप्स में एम्परर की पोजीशन पे डिपेंड करता था. वेयरएज इन अर्ली इजिप्शियन मैप्स सन किस डायरेक्शन में सेट होता है और सनराइज कहाँ से होती है वो उस पे बेस्ड होता था उनका मैप मेकिंग. सो दिस इज आवर करेक्ट ऑप्शन, ऑप्शन 1. Now let's come to the second passage. Let's read it. Do sports mega events like the Summer Olympic Games benefit the host city economically? So जब भी कोई पैसेज ऐसे स्टार्ट होता है, एक क्वेश्चन से स्टार्ट होता है, इट मोस्ट लाइकली मीन्स कि बाकी का पैराग्राफ जो होगा वो इसके आंसर का ही पार्ट होगा, कि इस क्वेश्चन को आंसर कर रहा होगा ऑथर बाकी के पैराग्राफ में. सो यू हैव टू take up this main idea, you have to think about it as a main idea. So आते हैं आगे रीड करते हैं. It depends, but the prospects are less than rosy. So यहाँ पे जो ऑथर बोल रहा है that the prospects are less than rosy, कि इसके चांसेस बहुत कम हैं. The trick is converting several $1 billion in operating cost during the 17-day fiesta of the games into a basis for a long-term economic returns. These days, the Summer Olympic Games themselves generate a total revenue of 4 billion to 5 billion. So it's a great revenue, it's a big number, 4 billion to 5 billion. But the lion's share of this goes to the International Olympics Committee, the National Olympics Committees and the International Sports Federations. So ये जो revenue आता है 4 billion to 5 billion, इसका जो lion's share यानी most of the share जो है वो इन committees को चला जाता है. Any economic benefit would have to flow from the value of the games as an advertisement for the city, the new transportation and communications infrastructure that was created for the games, or the ongoing use of the new facilities. So, यहाँ तक ऑथर ने हमें बताया दैट जो भी हमारा रेवेन्यू जनरेट होता है वो कैसे यूज हो जाता है बाय द कमिटीज. नाउ ऑथर इज टॉकिंग कि अगर कोई इकोनॉमिक बेनिफिट होस्ट सिटी को होता है तो वो किस तरह से हो सकता है. That as an advertisement first, second that the new transportation and communication infrastructure that was created, and the ongoing use of the new facilities. So now let's come to the second paragraph. Evidence suggests that the advertising effect is far from certain. So यहाँ पे ऑथर ने हमें 3 ऑप्शन दिए थे कि इस तरह से बेनिफिट हो सकता है, and this is further continued in the second paragraph. Evidence suggests that the advertising effect is far from certain. सो एडवर्टाइजिंग इफेक्ट तो आउट हो गया कि वो बहुत ज़्यादा इफेक्टिव नहीं है. द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एंड बेनिफिट डिपेंड्स ऑन द इनिशियल कंडीशन ऑफ द सिटी एंड द इफेक्टिवनेस ऑफ द प्लानिंग. So it is also not very doubt. It is a little doubtful. It is not very concrete. The facilities benefit is dubious at best for buildings such as velodromes or planetariums, and problematic for 100,000 seat Olympic stadiums. So the author is a little negative in this situation, that he is kind of saying that the Summer Olympic Games don't really benefit the host city, and he is explaining this in by giving examples and by giving explanations. So the latter require a conversion plan for future use. The former are usually doomed to near vacancy. The latter means the stadiums, that they require a conversion plan for future use. Hosting the summer games generally requires 30 plus sports venues and dozens of training centers. So it's a big burden on the host city. Today, the bird's nest in Beijing sits virtually empty, while the Olympic Stadium in Sydney cost some 30 million a year to operate. So he's now explaining it with uh, an example, that why the stadiums are kind of a burden on the city. Part of the problem is that Olympics planning takes place in a frenzied and time pressured atmosphere of intense competition with the other prospective host cities, not optimal conditions for contemplating the future shape of an urban landscape. So he's now talking about the why this problem arises. So the problem is that all this planning takes in a very time pressured atmosphere, and it is not very optimal for contemplating the future shape of an urban landscape. Another part of the problem is that urban land is generally scarce and growing scarcer. So in city we see that the land is not very abundant. It is very scarce. So the new facilities often stand for decades or longer. Even if they have future use, are they the best use of precious urban real estate? So since in cities the land is very scarce, it is not very abundant. So he's not talking about that even if the new facilities are used, are they the best use of the urban real estate? So now let's see the last paragraph. Further, cities must consider the human cost. Residential areas often are razed and citizens relocated without adequate preparation or compensation. Life is made more hectic and congested. There are, after all, other productive uses that can be made of vanishing fiscal resources. So, in this paragraph, he's not now talking about the human cost of the hosting the Olympics, and he's saying that other productive use can be made of this vanishing fiscal resources. Fiscal means monetary. So now let's come to the questions. The central point in the first paragraph is the economic benefits of the Olympic Games are shared equally among the three organizing committees. The author is saying that it is shared among the three organizing committees, but he never used the word equally, and since it is never mentioned in the paragraph, this can't be a correct option, so this is eliminated. Accrue most through revenue from advertisements and ticket sales. Ticket sales is never mentioned, hence this is also eliminated. Accrue to host cities, if at all, only in the long term. Correct, this is what the author has said in the first paragraph, but let's still see the last option. Are usually eroded by expenditure incurred by the host city. He's never talked about expenditure in the first paragraph. So this is also eliminated, and the correct option is option 3. आते हैं second question पे. Sports facilities built for the Olympics are not fully utilized after the games are over because their scale and the cost of operating them are large. This is true, but let's still see the other options. Their location away from the city center usually limits easy access. So actually it is false. Their location is actually in the city, and that is why we talked about the landscape in the city being scarce, the land in the city being scarce. So this is not a correct option, it is eliminated. The authorities do not adapt them to local conditions. This is never mentioned in the paragraph, eliminated. They become outdated, having been being built with little planning and under the pressure. Yes, they are built under the pressure and with little planning, but he never talks about them being outdated. And since we are using a new word here, this can't be an option. So this is also eliminated, and the correct option is option 1. Let's come to the next question. The author feels that the games place a burden on the host city for all of the following reasons, except that they divert scarce urban land from more productive uses. This is true. This is why they are a burden. So this is not a correct option. They involve the demolition of residential structures to accommodate sports facilities and infrastructure. This is also true, and this can't be a correct option. The finances used to fund the games could be better used for other purposes. This is also true, and hence cannot be our correct option. The influx of visitors during the games places a huge strain on the urban infrastructure. Now, here the author is talking about influx of visitors, whereas in the whole passage this was never talked about. So this is not the reason why the games were a burden on the host city. So this is the correct option, option 4. So by this we come to an end of our today's video. I hope you liked the video. Best of luck. You can follow us on Instagram. If you want to contact us, you can mail us. And if you want to join our Telegram channel, the link is provided in the description box.